You weren't there to speak at Fitness Business Summit. There was a medical incident. What happened?
So I've been, we're starting our own coffee company, and I've been sampling an infinite amount of coffees. One company, the name makes it funny, but I'm gonna keep it out. Anyway, I got some coffee from them. Instantly, I was like, dude, this is disgusting. But I had to soldier through because there was something about the beans that we wanted to know. Oh, because they said it was super high caffeine content.
Sure.
I'm like, all right, let's see how this affects me. Instantly, I felt my eyes pressing down. I had to go lay down on the couch 5 minutes later. And then before I knew it, I was just shitting uncontrollably on the toilet for hours. The entire weekend I was destroyed. And I thought I could soldier on. You know, I texted you that I'll put a diaper on and come down the next day because I didn't want to let you down and let everybody down. And I felt horrible about it. I just could not stay out of the bathroom for more than 20 minutes at a clip. So there's no way I could get down there. And I do apologize. It felt horrible.
So you recovered.
I recovered, yeah.
And is it safe to say that you will be selling this coffee?
No, we're steering clear of that.
Got it. Okay, so you won't be selling this, but this is great. So you do your own like product quality control.
Yes, yeah.
So let's talk about the things you were going to talk about at Fitness Business Summit. The topic of your
I don't remember any of them.
That's lovely. and so the topic of Fitness Business Summit is going to be a checkup from the neck up, which it's really that. I mean, it's what happens between your ears and not so much the latest, greatest marketing strategy, the product that you create or whatever. So can you paraphrase what you mean by a checkup from the neck up?
Yeah, you just need to get your head right. I mean, that's the only way. I have friends that have said to me, they say the same thing every conversation. I want it for 10 years now. They've said, you know what? I'd really like to do this. I'd like to live here. I feel like I'm meant to change the world. I'm meant to give back more. Dude, do it. What do you mean you're meant to do it? You want to do it. Just do it. But that's easier said than done because most people are obsessed with so many things. They're on Facebook. They're comparing themselves to others all the time. They're caught up in commercialism, consumerism, individualism. You need to simplify your life. You need to eliminate distractions. You need to get focused. You need to kind of write your own personal mission statement and decide, you know, who you are, what's important to you, where do you want to be, and ask yourself a lot of questions. Kind of reverse engineer your life. Where one thing, and this is not something new. I'm sure people have heard this before, but I like it when you do that exercise where you write out your perfect day. You know, what time you get up, where you're living, who you spend your time with. And that seems like a dream for most people, but you could get there. You just need to clear all that shit out of your head that's holding you back. So it's self-doubt, self-loathing, fear. I mean, fear is a huge one, but fear is just imagined. It's an outcome that's yet to be determined. So like we were talking about before, I wanted to surf my whole life, and I started surfing for a while, and then a shark about this big swam into my leg, and it kept me out of the water for 2 years, and I thought, what a hypocrite and what a coward I am. I tell people to live without fear and follow their dreams, and I can't go back into the ocean for 2 years because of that. And I said, fuck it. So now I'm back in there all the time, you know. As you can see, I get easily distracted. Now I'm forgetting the question again. But yeah, so you need to overcome all those things. And obviously it's easier said than done, but it's a lot of steps in the process. Spending time with the right people, you know, reading the right books. Something as simple as meditating has made a huge difference for me. And I think, again, it's just time. It's repetitive. Like we were saying before, you wouldn't expect to squat 500 pounds in your first few months. It's going to take years to build up to it. So you create those habits and that daily routine, that daily schedule where you know you're going to read a certain book that's going to uplift you. So that's why I book lunches with certain people. That's why I like to hang out with you, because not in a selfish way. I mean, I love you, you know, as a brother, as a friend. We have a great time together. We have a lot in common. But I also know that you're going to, just being around you, if we never discuss business, just something about your vibe and the way you are, I'm going to drive home and be more motivated and be a better person tomorrow, you know? So I like to spend time with people like that. So there's a million steps, but it's just, you have to commit to them and doing them every single day. There's no days off. You know, you need to do that shit. I don't believe in going back and hanging out with degenerate people. And I don't think you should judge your friends on how much money they make or if they uplift. Like, if they're good people and they're making 20 grand and you have fun with them, you've known them forever, that's cool. But I mean, people who bring you down are always like, this sucks, the man's holding me back, blah, blah, blah. And they're always talking shit about people. You don't want to be with those kind of people. I mean, I could go on and on, but there's a lot of steps.
So how do you go from Jason Ferrugia, Renegade Strength, to coffee when the following that you have online, the products that you've created have changed so many lives, and to me, it's such a big disconnect from fitness to there.
I mean, the thing is, coffee obviously is a great pre-workout stimulant. It's great for burning fats. I mean, you could tie it in. It ties in. I think it's part of a healthy diet. It definitely, I mean, I can't get work done and get focused on without coffee. I don't know how I did it for 35 years. But the other part is I really don't care anymore. Not that I don't care, I love fitness and it's always gonna be part of my life, but I wanna branch off and do other things that maybe I put on the back burner for too long because maybe I made excuses or maybe I had fear holding me back, whatever it was. And some people will say, wow, I have other plans to do other things that are totally unrelated to fitness. And some people say, what you just said, dude, you have a huge audience, you built a pretty successful business around fitness. How do you abandon that? How do you start new stuff? And I'm just like, that's just what I do. Like, I can't live in fear. You got to take risks. You got to do things you're passionate about. So I'll still always have a foothold in fitness, and fitness will be part of my life. And it's my obsession and my passion. I can't not train. I can't not eat well, but I got to do other things. You got to do what you're passionate about. I started doing this in '94, it's 2014, that's 20 years. For me to get up every morning and only write about chin-ups and squats with passion anymore, that's not gonna happen. I gotta do things that I've wanted to do forever and haven't done, and I gotta do more things to make the world a better place.
So let's go back to that then, what you talked about. It's obvious that you are the entrepreneur, whether it's coffee, whether it's writing about chin-ups and push-ups and squats, you're the entrepreneur. And whatever you do, you're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
And maybe right now you said you're done about writing so much about push-ups and chin-ups and so on. But when you did, and you wrote so much where you became who you are, the friends, and I don't want to name drop, so if you want to, you be my guest, but I mean, the people that you hang around with, impress me. Arnold, right? Yeah. Is a hero of mine ever since I saw Pumping Iron.
Right. And
it's still one of the DVDs I watch once a year, and every time Muscle and Fitness comes out with the next Arnold issue, I'm the guy buying it.
If it wasn't for Arnold, you and I couldn't do what we do.
Yeah. So how did you get there? At some point, you had to buckle down and commit to writing about push-ups, pull-ups, and squats.
Yeah.
What made you stick to it and see it through and become so successful?
Well, it wasn't because I wasn't focused on any end game of I'm trying to build a business. Obviously, I was trying to build a business, but I wasn't focused on numbers, and that's just what I was passionate about. When I first started my gym, I didn't know shit about business, but I built up the business pretty successfully. When I first started online, I was just doing it because I enjoyed writing. In school, English and literature, that was the only things I got good grades in, so I enjoyed writing, and I just started doing it because I was passionate about it, and I saw myself get better as a writer over time, and I never thought about monetizing. I started writing in 2001 with no plan to monetize it. I don't think maybe 2004 or 5, I started a little bit, and then Craig helped me, and then from there I built it into a successful business. But there was never a lack of passion. I could get up every morning and write about things that I've observed in the gym, things I learned about, things I'm experimenting with, just random thoughts. And then I saw the results of writing like that. The more I wrote, the more business would grow, and that makes you feel good. And obviously we all have to put food on the table, so there was some of that motivation, but that wasn't what started it at first. And I think if you do anything focused just on numbers and making money, it's never going to be successful. If you're not passionate, don't even try it. Don't even start doing it. Like if someone comes to me today and says, I have an amazing idea that'll make you $1 million a year, but it's not in line with my core values or isn't something I'm going to be excited about, I'm not going to do it. I willingly gave up at least 150 grand a year last November, and I haven't done. There's certain things in the business that I do that I stopped doing just because I wasn't passionate about them, and I said that's fine. If I make 150 less this year, I don't care. I don't want to do them anymore.
So you've got your rules.
Yeah.
You've got your rules and you stick to them.
Yes.
What are Jason Ferrugia's rules?
Everything I do has to be fun, and I know that everyone doesn't have that luxury. People have to grind. They do shit they're not passionate about, but I worked to the point where I can do that now. You have to fucking shovel shit and do things. You got to grind and do things you don't want to do. But that was always my goal to enjoy life and for it to be fun and for me to be giving back. So I am pretty anal in my schedule and things that I need to get done, but I make time for fun, and I want anything I do to be fun. Like I want there to be humor on our website, on our podcast. Will Smith was the first guest on Jimmy Fallon's show when he moved to 11:30 and took over Jay Leno's spot. And he said, always remember, he said he was giving advice to his kids who were getting into the business now. And he said, always remember that anything you do should be art and it should be a gift for other people, and that everybody's struggling. Everybody comes home from work, they're having a rough day, and what we're trying to do is, you know, make them smile, brighten their life a little bit. So even though I might be teaching someone how to squat or how to make money, whatever it is, I want there to be entertainment in there. In some way, I'm enriching people's lives more, you know, giving them art in some way, kind of like Will said, like, you know, makes their day a little better in some way.
Let's talk about that. Shoveling shit, grinding,
Yeah.
right? Because I think you and I are pretty fucking lucky.
Yeah.
The lifestyle that we live.
Right.
You moved from New Jersey to Southern California,
Yeah.
arguably one of the best places in Southern California,
Yeah.
Santa Monica. You live on the beach.
Yeah.
You're able to live this amazing life. I'm able to live this amazing life. I'm grateful. I'm thankful. I can tell you are. We hang out enough where I can sense that about you. You give back. You help others. You pull people up. But there was a time when you were grinding. You were shoveling shit.
Absolutely.
What does that look like? How long did it take? What do you say to the guy who says, "I want what you have"?
20 years. Yeah. I started, I was in college and I got tuberculosis and I almost died. If I didn't get to the doctor that day, he said I would have died the next day because my lungs would have filled up with fluid. And so I had to take a year off from school. And during that time, I was going to school for communications. I wanted to either make films or be the anchor for SportsCenter. I had to take a year off because I was sick. So I started reading everything about training. I was obsessed with training because I was a skinny, weak kid. I didn't want to be that way anymore. Reading books, watching videos, and then I started getting certifications while I'm sitting home. And that summer, I started training people, and I was good at it. And I had no business sense whatsoever, but I started making a lot of money. And by the end of the summer, I was making close to $2,000 a week, just within like 4 months of doing this. I'm like, how am I going to be in school making $100,000? That's insane, you know? So I said, I got to transfer back home and just keep this going here. How can I turn this down? So basically, for the next God knows how long, I just worked every day at the gym. I was there 12, 13 hours and probably 6 to 8 on a Saturday. And then I slowly transitioned out of the gym probably in 2006. So from 94 to 2006, 12 years, 12 hours a day. And then I started writing more, and then that was a grind, you know, writing books and stuff like that, grinding. I mean, and going back, you and I had this discussion before. I mean, hindsight's always 20/20. Now you think about it and you're like, wow, I did miss out on things. You know, you miss out on certain experiences, or maybe just pushing off your passions and stuff like that. So I would do it differently, but that was all I knew at the time. And you have to grind. You know, I don't know that you have to grind 60, 70 hours a week. Now I know how to work more efficiently, where I can get so much more done in less time, which I wish I knew back then. But yeah, I mean, you absolutely have to grind. I don't think you can get away at the beginning with probably less than 60-hour weeks. You got to probably put in those 5 years or so, you know? And then you learn from your mistakes, and you learn how to be more efficient and how to do more with less time.
So the Jason of today, if you can go back 15 years to that Jason and say, let me teach you these 2 or 3 things about working more efficiently instead of working these 12 and 16-hour days, what would those bullet points be that you would teach that kid?
For the gym, I would definitely have hired more people earlier. I would have hired someone like you, actually, to tell me what the fuck to do, you know? But if there was, and back then in the 90s, I don't know who was there even to do that. There was barely an internet. I didn't, you know, so I guess I just would have hired people sooner. I guess I wouldn't even have thought about making products back then, but just make my time more efficient. Started group training sooner, you know, things like that. As far as an online business goes, really the biggest thing for me has been having an executive assistant. That's huge. So delegating more is huge. Like when you try to do everything, I mean, I've done everything. I've been the janitor, the trainer, the marketing guy, the sales copy guy, the guy who cleans the bathroom, online, the guy who does social media, the guy who does every single thing there is to do in a business. You know what that's like. So I would have delegated more and more and more from the get-go, and then I would have just set schedules. For me, that's the most important thing, is to program in, I'm going to do this at this time. I block off this hour for writing, and I set timers. And when the timer goes off, I'm on to my next thing. And I definitely have my schedule set. So you and I can do this. You and I can hang out. I have lunch with friends 3 days a week. I think it's super important to do that. As an entrepreneur, if you're self-employed, you can work 24 hours a day, but you just don't get anything done. It's kind of like you're just looking like, what else should I do? And then you're working, not really focused, you're hanging out kind of. When you have those set time blocks, you know, this is my focus, don't bother me, I'm putting on headphones, nobody call me, the phone's off, the internet's off, just getting work done. That's huge for me. And then scheduling in fun. Like, so I have surf lessons, I know at this time, this day, I have lunch 3 days a week with friends. I have yoga this time, whatever it is, whatever you're passionate about, schedule that stuff and you actually get more done. You know, I think that's huge.
So let me paraphrase this: is hiring an executive assistant
Was huge for me, yeah.
delegating out to people instead of being
Absolutely,
everything
yeah,
that you can be.
You can't be a control freak.
Right. Right. And then scheduling your days, your weeks,
Yeah.
your months.
Yeah.
The fact that you have 3 days a week that you know you're going to go and hang out and have lunch with friends,
Yeah.
probably then motivate you to come back to your cave
Right.
and get into work mode, right?
Yeah.
Versus
Because
to
you
be
can
stuck
live
in
like
mode.
the uni bomber, you know, just be hanging
Yeah.
out, working, not seeing anybody. You got to make time for that stuff.